His name was Daniel, 26 years old, with a job he had worked hard for, a mother who prayed for him every night, and a smile that made everyone around him feel like everything was going to be all right. He was not a reckless person. He was not someone who looked for trouble. He was just a young man who had been waiting for something good to happen. And that Friday night it finally did. His company had just given him a promotion. After 2 years of early mornings, late nights, and never complaining, someone had finally noticed. His friends wanted to celebrate, and Daniel felt like he had earned it. They chose a small bar near the edge of the city, nothing too fancy, just a place where they could laugh, eat, and let the week go. He told himself he would have 1 or 2 drinks and go home early. He had said that before. The music was loud and the energy was high. 1 drink became 3, and 3 became more than he could count. His friend Ryan kept refilling his glass, laughing and saying the night was still young. Daniel laughed too. He felt good. He felt light. He felt like nothing in the world could touch him that night. That feeling, that warm, convincing, lying feeling, was the most dangerous thing in the room. Around midnight, people began leaving. Daniel stood up and reached for his keys. His friend Marcus looked at him and said, "Are you sure you are all right to drive?" Daniel smiled, waved him off, and said he was completely fine. He had driven that road 100 times. He knew every turn, every light, every corner. What he did not know was that confidence and control are not the same thing, and that night he had lost one of them completely. The road home was quiet. Streetlights passed over his windshield one by one like slow heartbeats. Daniel turned up the music. He was singing. He was happy. He was not paying attention to the crosswalk at the bottom of the hill, the one with the blinking yellow light, the one he had crossed on foot himself so many times. He saw it too late. There was a family, a mother, a father, and a little girl named Amara. She was 7 years old, wearing a red jacket, holding her father's hand. They had just come from a late dinner and were walking home the way they always did. They had the right of way. They had the crossing signal. They had done nothing wrong. Daniel's car did not stop in time. The sound of tires on wet road, then impact, then silence. It lasted less than a second. It will last a lifetime. He sat in his car with shaking hands and a heart that had forgotten how to beat normally. When he stepped out, he saw Amara on the ground. Her father was already beside her, screaming her name into the cold night air. She survived. That is the part people say to make it sound like a relief. But surviving and being unharmed are 2 very different things. Amara spent 4 months in the hospital. The damage to her spine was permanent. She would never walk again. The little girl who used to run barefoot in the garden, who begged her mother to let her stay outside 5 more minutes. She would spend the rest of her life in a wheelchair, and she would never fully understand why. Daniel was arrested at the scene. He did not resist. He sat on the cold pavement and wept in a way he had never wept before, not from fear of prison, but from the crushing weight of knowing what he had done to someone innocent. The breathalyzer confirmed what everyone already knew. He was more than twice the legal limit. He had known, somewhere deep inside, that he should not have driven. He had known, and he had chosen anyway. The trial took 8 months. His mother sat in the courtroom every single day. She did not cry publicly, but Daniel could see it in her eyes, a kind of grief that no parent should ever carry. He was sentenced to 4 years in prison. He lost his job, his apartment, and most of his friends before the first month was over. But none of that compared to what happened every time he closed his eyes at night. He would see red, a red jacket, a little girl, and a moment he could not take back. When he was released, Daniel was 30 years old and felt like an old man. He got a small room in a shared house and found quiet work where no one asked too many questions. He heard through someone that Amara was in school now, that she was doing well, that she had learned to paint and love science. That news broke him in a way prison never had, not because she was suffering, but because she was brave, and he had given her no choice but to be. He never drove again, not out of law, but out of something he could not fully explain, a silent promise to a child who would never know he had made it. He began speaking at local schools and community centers, telling his story without holding back, watching the faces of young people who looked the way he used to look, invincible, certain. Untouchable. Do not let anyone tell you that one bad decision cannot change everything. It can. It did. In the space of one blink, on one quiet road, on what was supposed to be the best night of his life, Daniel took something from a little girl that she can never get back. He did not mean to. He was not a bad person. But he made a careless choice, and the world does not grade on intention. If you are ever in that moment, keys in hand, a voice in your head, saying you are probably fine, listen to the other voice. The quiet one. The one that knows the truth. Call someone. Wait. Walk. Do anything except get behind that wheel. Because the road does not know how good your reasons were. It only knows what happens next. And some things, once broken, simply cannot be fixed again.